It was the bloodiest battle in human history and a turning point in World War II. 70 years ago, the Soviet Union snatched victory in Stalingrad, defeating the Nazi death machine. RT's Tom Barton followed the commemoration.
The parade here in modern-day Volgograd is to mark the end of that terrible battle 70 years ago, with a parade by troops, the laying of wreaths from various delegations, and the assembled crowds here remembering all those people that died there, as many as 2 million, the top estimates say. There's also a little bit of controversy surrounding the name Stalingrad. The city is now called Volgograd. But the city administration say that they want on certain special days to once again refer to it by its old name, Stalingrad, which is a controversial decision given its connection to that controversial figure, Stalin himself. But as for this parade today, this commemorative event, it will forever have the connection, the word Stalingrad, not with this place, but with what happened here.
70 years ago, the Nazi war machine failed at Stalingrad. Here, a reconstruction of the German surrender. Andrei is playing the part of Friedrich Paulus, promoted the day before to Field Marshal by Hitler in a bid to stop him capitulating.
When Paulus realized that Hitler wanted him to commit suicide, he said he wouldn't give him such pleasure, and he chose to live.
For Nazi Germany, this military disaster was the moment Hitler's hubris really caught up with him. For the Soviet Union, it was at last a decisive victory over the invaders that had ravaged so much of their country.
This basement of Stalingrad's largest department store had become Paulus's last headquarters. Soviet officers entered to find it packed with wounded, starving and freezing German soldiers. This is what had become of what had started out as the largest army the world had ever seen.
The Wehrmacht's 6th Army had surged up to the city in the summer of 1942. Hitler wanted to clear the way to the oil of the Caucasus. But Stalingrad, at first a sideshow, became an object of obsession for both him and Stalin. Fyodor fought for his very life, battling house to house as the Germans and their allies took 90% of the city.
Stalingrad was hell. The Volga was a river of fire, and when we went to get water from it, it was water and blood mixed.
In November, Soviet commander Georgy Zhukov sprung a huge trap, cutting German forces off from their supply lines, surrounding them inside the frozen city. By the end of January, it was all but over. The city was a ruin. Only the few biggest buildings remained standing.
For our people, it was very important because finally we stopped retreating. Our officers and generals started to learn how to win at Stalingrad.
As many as 2 million people died in the battle. Their bodies are still being discovered today. But although the Red Army and the Soviet people didn't know it yet, they had reached a turning point in the bloodiest war in human history. Tom Barton, RT.